Hello, everybody, and welcome to another video. So I know I posted my January into February wrap up and transition and overview of my system, but I wanted to do more of an update on the journals that I've used consistently in each month and how it's going for me. There are some journals that I do have in the mix here. I have my novel writing journal, my education journal, and then my grief and therapy journal. This one you will never see the inside of, which is fair. These two I haven't really touched in January, so while they may come in subsequent planner updates, they are not going to be involved in this month's update because there have been other things that got prioritized this month. And this is inspired by Helen over at the Coffee Monsters Co. I love her update videos that she did in 2024, and she's continuing them again in 2025. And I was like, oh, I want to do an update. So while I did my January recap into February setup for my planning, I wanted this to be a holistic of everything I used in January. I will start with the main book first, which was my bullet journal for January. Now, this houses my dailies, notes, networking, things like that, all in one book. And I started this one on December 30th. And I used it until February 2nd. And so I have my dailies that get housed in here. And I love the day on two page layout. You guys know this. I also love keeping a daily timeline because otherwise I have pretty bad time blindness and I don't always remember, what did I do yesterday? This is when I took my dog to the vet for valley fever. Turned out she'd had valley fever, so poor potato. And I'm really proud because I used up some of my washies that were, when I did my washi destash, they only had a little bit left and I used them all up in this kind of first week here. So you'll see my dailies is this grid washi, then it moves to this washi, then it's this washi, because I wanted to just finish up those rolls. And then just random notes, and then more dailies. And so nothing too crazy happening here. Lots of mind mapping, lots of timelines. Love having the 2 days on one page because I feel like it keeps me focused on the day at hand versus stressing about what did or didn't happen the day before and having anxiety about what is upcoming. And so all of these look fairly similar, except for this is when I started veering off path and reevaluating how I was housing all of my tasks because I was getting a little over the migration process. And then my notes are very, straightforward, like just random things. And anything with a blue tab has been migrated into my February book. I love it. Then what I did want to show you guys again was my goal pages. I am using my own sort of goal planning system this year. And so this was the first 4 weeks. And I liked having a 1, 2, 3 plus the reflection on this side. Worked beautifully. The one thing I'm changing here is I'm going to combine working in wins and then not working in adjustments, because as I was reflecting, I found working and then wins to overlap and be redundant and writing almost the same things. So adjustments there. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I showed it pretty in depth in my January wrap up, February setup. And then this is just my stream of conscious journaling day to day. Again, using washi that I only had a little bit left of here and in here, so I could just finish those rolls up. And that was really great. And then here I loved these. I got some Planning with K stickers for wintertime. That's the only time I really buy seasonal specific stickers is in the winter because I love the winter vibes. And just daily journaling. Sometimes it's less, sometimes it's more, just depends on the day. And then I need a fresh page here. Like, woo. You can tell here, this is when I started getting stressy about my system and just my task management in general. I felt like I was working for my planners weren't working for me. And then this is the last bit of it. So this was a A5 Stalogy that I cut down into a standard size notebook that I used for about 5 weeks, and it was beautiful. The next book that I've been using consistently, and this one has actually never been on the channel because this is my Hobonichi A5. So 2024 was the first year that I used this baby, and I just got the undyed leather cover for it. I'm gonna be quite honest, I don't love this cover. I have on my wish list an A6 cover from Elysian Paper, which is one of my favorite planner cover shops. But it's one of those things where it's a nice to have, it's not a need to have. And so until I decide that I want to use my discretionary funds for that, I will hold off on purchasing it because this is working for now. I am trying to leave this out on like the windowsill and do some leather conditioner on it to help it patina. And maybe if it gets a little more color, I'll like it more, but it just feels too, I don't know. And then it picks up a lot of things like inks and stuff randomly. So I don't love this leather. And then this was the funeral card from my dad who passed in October 2023. It's going into my second year in this journal now. And I like the A6 size quite a bit for this. So I just use a fountain pen. I was playing with different inks in 2024 and using different inks and different pens depending on the day. I'm not really doing that this year. I only have a couple of fountain pens inked up. And I love writing in this with, I've discovered, a medium nib TWSBI. So I have a rose gold diamond TWSBI medium nib, and it has Beaver Dam Brown in it from Ferris Wheel Press. And so that's primarily what I'm writing with right now. I might switch it up at some point. I just write the day of the week. And I was doing stickers last year, and then I realized I didn't like the bulk of it. And then just little highlights and kind of notes of the day. And I will typically do this in the morning about the day prior. So this is part of my morning routine. And sometimes I write a couple things, and sometimes I write a lot. I started off writing a lot at the beginning of the year and then realized I don't like writing as much. And then today, just a couple highlights. So like a long recording day, but super good. In the evening, Pete came over and cooked us dinner and made me some gluten-free sopapillas. Just little highlights of the day is the point. And then let me find a day where I wrote double. So today I did write over into this side. I don't necessarily need to fill out this side, but I like that there's a little overflow space for when I want it. I don't think I'll always use it, but I like to have it. And so this was like, today was a work from home day. And even though I had trouble focusing this afternoon, the day was good. Joined the Focused app for co-working, finished Powerless by Lauren Roberts, and then Ashley picked up her wedding dress and dropped it off for safekeeping, which is my future sister-in-law. She picked up her wedding dress, dropped it off at my house. It's in my closet. We are in February now, so my January looks pretty much like this. And it's really satisfying now in the second year in this journal, seeing the entries from last year and then I'm writing in this year, and I'm so pumped to see this book fully filled out at the end of 5 years. But the A6 size really is so nice because it allows me to journal a little bit, get the idea or the gist of the day without it being overwhelming or hard to keep up with. Even if I miss a couple days, it's usually pretty easy to go back. And then the dailies that I keep help me inform that journaling. If I look at it, I'm like, wait, what happened yesterday? I go back and look at my dailies. So that's the 18th. Again, just had a few things here. Oh, a Diamond Oxblood. I loved this ink. I do want to get a bottle of this ink. And to be quite honest, once this pen runs out, I have more Beaver Dam Brown, but I'm getting sick of the brown. I might get some Oxblood and fill this up with the Oxblood ink. I had a sample of it and I loved it. And it writes so well in a medium nib. This was the day that, did I listen to part 2 of Iron Flame all day till midnight? Yes. Do I have regrets? No. And also tried to start Onyx Storm, but I fell asleep. But I woke up at 4 a.m. and read most of the morning. No regrets. It was just hilarious. So this is just little highlights of the day. Shampooed rugs because Roxy pooped. My dog had an accident. Love it. Flew to California to visit Alex. So that was fun because I had a flight to catch, but then I had to shampoo the carpets that morning of the day I was flying out. So love that for me. And then nothing crazy, right? Lazy day. Well, my massage got canceled, but I did spend some time working. So I had a half day this day, which was great. Sort of an easy start to the week after a trip. And yeah, this is just my A6 5-year. So if you guys want me to continue showing this on the channel, I'm absolutely happy to. There's nothing like weird or sensitive in here. It might just be hard to read, but you can see the progression of the 5-year. So now we are into February, And so this is today, Tuesday. I haven't written in here, but I'll probably write in it tomorrow. So this is what the pages look like, which is the 1 year filled out compared to 2 years filled out. So I'm very excited for the progression of this. The final journal that I've been using consistently is my reading notes, not necessarily just reading, but personal development in general. And I have it in this VegTam B6 Moterm, which I love. And I've been using my other TWSBI medium nib. And I'm actually going to be destashing all but one of my other TWSBIs and just getting the medium nibs because I like them the best. Anyway, so I've got this, has a mix of Diatramentis Archive Black with the Beaver Dam Brown because it makes this beautifully dark, gorgeous, smooth ink. Oh my God, I love it. So in here, I have a little affirmation card, a Lauren Phelps Designs writing board in the B6 size, and I just keep them in the side here. I have some page flags and then just a couple pieces of deco. I put this Antisocial Book Club because this is primarily my personal development reading. It's not a book journal. It's really specifically for personal development books. Any books that I read that are about coaching or nutrition go into my education notebook. This is personal development. So I have these page flags and I have tagged each book with a different color tag. And I have more of these in my Amazon cart for when I run out of certain flags. Now, was this necessary? Absolutely not. Am I enjoying it? Yes. It's very satisfying. And so in here, I originally titled this notebook Book Thoughts, is I've got notes on reading Psycho-Cybernetics and Daily Stoic and more Psycho-Cybernetics interspersed. So that way I'm not stuck with, oh, I can only write about this book on this page. And then in the back, I actually have a index, and I wrote a note. I'm no longer going to index the Daily Stoic because it's like one entry per day, but I am going to index everything else. So for example, The Mountain Is You, chapter 2, started on page 52, jumped to page 57, and I haven't quite ended with chapter 2 yet, so I'm still going. So once I finish chapter 2, I'll just write out 57 through whatever page. And this is a B6 Stalogy, so there's plenty of room in here. So for example, this is all chapter 2, except for when I have a Daily Stoic entry, I just outline it in gray. So it separates itself from the rest of the writing. And then I put a little page flag. And then when I restart Mountain Is You, I stick the page flag on, and then I know that this is where I'm at. Cool, Daily Stoic. This is still anything that's in the gray box is Daily Stoic, and then everything else is still chapter 2, The Mountain Is You. And so that's how I've been using this. So I am just going through here, writing notes as I'm reading these books. Now, this is why reading personal development takes me so much longer because, and I was using a multi-pen here. That was fun. Didn't love it, but it was fun. I like to write either things directly from the book that stand out to me, or I will restate the message of whatever section I'm reading in a way that makes sense to my brain. And that just helps me better connect to and implement the lessons learned in the text. There's no rhyme or reason to how I take notes either. It's just whatever feels right in the moment. The page flags, if I'm being quite honest, they're pretty. There's no other rhyme or reason to it except for this whole thing just looks so satisfying to my brain. And then I have blotting paper since I am using a fountain pen, and this Archive ink plus the Beaver Dam Brown is a pretty wet combo, especially with a medium nib pen. And so I just have a little blotting paper in to keep things from bleeding too crazily. I do use a little page marker for whatever page that I'm currently on. And then I use the second page marker for the index, and that's how that goes. So the 3 journals that were primarily used in January, my personal development reading, my A6 5-year Techo, and my insert for January for my TN that housed my dailies and my journaling. And then in my TN, we did have the monthly insert where this was January. And then we have the weekly inserts here, which is the vertical. You can watch my January recap into February for more info. And then we had the horizontal weeklies, which are my personal. So the vertical was my work, Horizontal was my personal. Love both of these. They're working so, so well, and I have no desire to change how I'm using them. That's the January update. I'm excited to do these now moving forward. And let me know if you have any questions. Thank you guys so much for being here. I'll catch you on the next one.